The Bread and Better podcast acknowledges the Yagara people and the Turrbal people as the traditional custodians of Meanjin, the lands on which we record today. We pay our respects to the Yagara and Turrbal elders, past, present, and emerging. This podcast is brought to you by Hey Al Productions.
Did I say good? Did I get you to do it one more time?
Maybe just in case.
Okay, do it one more time. Go. Bread and Better podcast. Okay. Bread and Better podcast. I feel like I'm Bread and Better podcast.
Welcome back to Bread and Better, the podcast where we believe that better begins with us. On today's episode, we are really leaning into that mantra and we will be discussing a few ways that you can positively influence your child's relationship with food.
I am Tegan, resident movement and nutrition guru. I'm a qualified personal trainer and sports nutritionist. Today's topic is something that I am so passionate about and I can't wait to dive into it with you guys. I have close to 10 years industry experience working with many mums in my time. I have close to 10 years industry experience working with many mums in my time, and I know just how important this stuff is. My passion in this area is one of the founding pillars of the pod.
I'm Alex, and as a mum of 3, I'm so excited to hear what Tegan has to say today, as this is something that I am super aware of constantly as a parent. As well as raising 3 little legends, I am also the production whiz behind Bread and Better. Tegan and I complement each other so well with our different backgrounds, and when I originally approached her about doing the podcast and she shared with me her vision about creating generational change in health and fitness, I just knew that we were meant to end up here. So let's get straight into it.
All right. Usual starting segment, the best thing that we ate in the last week. I've popped mine in. Do you have yours ready to go?
I actually haven't eaten anything exciting. Wait, let's do something I drank, because the other day, I think I may have said this back in like our first episode, but I had the espresso frappe from Florence, and it's made on cashews and it's got like a wattle maple and it's delicious.
I love the mango one from there. That's my fave.
We need to head back there for our next planning meeting and go back to our traditional drinks.
We do. I really like the omelette there now too, which I haven't even had when I've been with you.
Oh.
Maybe we need to pencil that in for the next few weeks.
Yeah, let's do that.
So I've eaten more tacos again, guys. So I went out for tacos on Sunday for a girlfriend's birthday. Actually, I don't think we had tacos, but it was a Mexican place that does tacos. They had this calamari and it was really different to how calamari is normally served. It was like pieces that were crumbed.
Oh, yeah.
And then it had like a sweet sauce on top, maybe like a pineapple-y sort of flavor. And then it had like lots of coriander and dill on top of that.
Yeah.
It was really unique and I really liked it. And then I went to Frida Sol and had tacos again on Tuesday.
I love calamari.
I basically am a taco at this point.
You are, your whole diet is just tacos. Kev desperately wants me to clarify something from last week's episode when we were discussing the setup of Clem Jones Centre. So the little room I was talking about is the stretching room, and I mainly spend my time in the weights room.
Okay.
Where all the machines are. At Clem Jones Centre, there's one, like there's your cardio and then there's the reception and then it's all the weights and all the machines. And in the back room, there's like
a cool down stretching.
Yeah, with like
abs.
all your stretchy things and the ball things.
Okay.
So
okay,
that's it. He
I'm
was
glad
like, you have to explain this better.
Okay, I'm glad we cleared that up.
Yeah.
Thank you for the clarification, Kev.
You're welcome.
So before we get into today's episode, where we will be discussing some ways that you can positively influence your child's relationship with food, I just want to do a few disclaimers. Firstly, I am qualified as a sports nutritionist and I work with general population adults and not children. This is very generalized advice, and for more specific advice suited to your children, please seek out someone more qualified than myself. If you find conversations around food triggering, maybe this isn't the episode for you. However, as always, we come from a place of food positivity and talking about food from an abundance mindset, not a restrictive one. I can't imagine that you will have any issues with today's episode, but just in case that's something you're working through at the moment. Next, how you raise your children is 100% up to you. We understand that there's a lot of noise out there about what you should and shouldn't do. Trust your intuition as a parent and treat everything you hear with curiosity, but at the end of the day, just do what feels right for you. And finally, before we really get into things, we do appreciate that our parents, our grandparents, etc., did the best with the tools that they had at the time. We are never criticizing past methods of parenting. We are recognizing that we now have a little bit more information and we can see how the older mindsets have shaped us. And should we wish to, have the choice to do things a little bit differently. So a lot of my clients are mothers. I would say a large majority of my clients actually.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are now aware that potentially, not all of them, potentially their mother's dieting behaviors really shaped their relationship with food today, and they want to set their children up with better mindsets. And this is something that I talk about a lot in my work and something that I am really, really passionate about because I think that's absolutely a fantastic thing to be able to do.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited to talk about it today. It's okay. Like we've said this before and we'll say it again. It is okay to want to lose weight or to change your body composition in some way. However, we do have to be careful with how we do approach this around children. So we're going to discuss a few ways that you can positively influence your child's relationship with food, whether you are on a weight loss journey at the moment or not. So there'll be some tips in there for if you are trying to lose weight at the moment and how to approach that, and just some general tips that are going to help you with setting your kids up with a better relationship with food than you might have had.
So I'm so excited for this on a personal note because I am doing my build phase with you. Also, this was top of the list when we were planning the podcast, doing this episode.
Yeah, it was one of our OG ideas.
Yeah, I think it's really, really, really important because as a mum, especially, I mean, obviously of the boys as well, but with Magnolia, I feel like, there's so much noise around girls' bodies. So I really, really, I know, and I've picked some things up from you along the way, but there's so much more that I want to know. And I was speaking to friends last night who are the same, like a few of them are altering their diets to get to a place where they feel more comfortable and they want to know how to talk to their daughters about like weighing food. I had to weigh myself the other day, which my kids have never seen me do before.
Yep.
So I kind of talked to them and we'll get to this. I said exactly what you've taught me to do in the past, and I feel like that's going to be really valuable information for everyone else as well.
Yeah, I do get a lot of my clients, and I'm not sure if we have discussed it before on the podcast, but I do get a lot of my clients to weigh themselves daily.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of people that will tell you to throw out the scales, and I've definitely done that before myself. Like I have had a period where I did have a really bad relationship with the scales, and at the end of the day, our scale weight is just data.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't make us feel a certain way emotionally, but it did for me. So I opted to take 3 years off from weighing myself. Well, I didn't opt to take 3 years. I didn't say in 3 years I'll weigh myself. I just decided to stop weighing myself, and I focused on what I could control, because we've spoken before about how scale weight is something that's not within our control. It's the daily habits that affect that are.
Yeah.
And I was really focused on my daily habits. I was tracking calories to ensure that I was in a calorie deficit. I was really mindful of a whole bunch of other things, and I got a really good result. However, I didn't fix the core issue that standing on the scales made me feel a certain way.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of putting my head in the sand about that. And then when I became a sports nutritionist and had an online business, I really need my clients to be able to collect data to tell me like what we're doing is working.
Yeah.
So I thought, it's not appropriate for me to go in and ask people to weigh themselves if I have a poor relationship with the scales myself.
Yeah.
And I worked with a coach at the time who had a tool, and then I developed a tool myself that is based on seeing scale weight as purely data and not something that we have an emotional attachment with. So I use that with my clients so that they can break down that relationship with the scales, and it's a series of questions that they go through before they jump on the scales. But the reason that I do get them to weigh themselves daily is because they start to see that fluctuations in their scale weight is completely normal.
Yeah.
Versus when you go to, like back in the day, you'd go to Weight Watchers or something like that, and they'd chuck you on the scales once a week.
Yeah.
And if you didn't get a positive result, then what you're doing might not be working. Versus when my clients jump on the scales, and a lot of them can talk to this, and they weigh themselves every day, they start to see that it's going to go up and down.
Yeah.
But what we're tracking overall is the downward trend. And there's so many things that can affect your scale weight, including like whether you've been to the bathroom, how you've slept, whether you've had a carby meal, whether you've had a salty meal, where you are in your cycle, like a million things that can affect our scale weight. And they start to see and understand those things. So if they were to jump on the scales once a week and say they've had a really carby, salty meal the night before, their scale weight might be up, and they might think, oh, this isn't working, and give up.
Yeah.
Versus seeing, no, I saw it trend down all week. This is my, worst result of a really good week. I know it's nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
And further to that as well, they start to understand their bodies better. So they start to see, when I do eat this sort of food, my weight fluctuates, or when I train in this way, or I fluctuate up around ovulation or the start of my period, and they start to understand their bodies really well. And the more data that we have, it's like that exposure therapy that we were talking about last week. You start to not be so emotionally attached to what that result is.
Yeah, that's so true.
However, having said that, I don't think it's necessary for your children to see you weighing yourself every day. Like ideally, that's something that you're doing in the bathroom first thing upon waking up after you go to the bathroom. So it's not necessary for them to see it.
Yeah.
But if they were to see it and you would ask, it would just be to ensure that you're still healthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that you're eating enough food. Always go from that abundance perspective, that you're eating enough food to fuel your body well.
Yeah, that's what I said to them. So the only reason they knew was because I had said to Kev, I have to weigh myself. And he's like, where are you going to do that? I was like, I don't know. And then he's like, actually, I think there's scales at the gym. And then Oscar, when I had been to the gym, Oscar was like, oh, did you remember to get that for Tegan? And I was like, yeah. And then he was like, oh, why are you weighing yourself? And I said, to make sure, so that Tegan can make sure that I'm eating enough food, because I'm going to the gym so much. So I have to have enough energy to be able to burn. Otherwise, I'm just going to be exhausted and not be able to do it.
Yeah. And we're going to get into that a little bit further down. It's pretty similar when we're talking about weighing out food, if you are tracking calories. So I'll talk to that a little bit further down.
Yeah.
So the first point that I have, and this is good advice for children, this is also good advice for adults.
Yeah.
Because it's not just our kids that we are influencing. We're also influencing ourselves with how we think and how we show up and how we speak and our language. And we're also influencing those around us. So if you're in a toxic group of friends, or there's a group chat that sends a message that's like, oh my God, look at this person's body, and they're comparing themselves to that person. You will get drawn into that versus, not partaking in that behavior. So whilst this is good information for kids, it's also good information for how you show up if you don't have children as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So number one rule, and I will pull my clients up on this constantly, and sometimes I know that they're using the language flippantly, but it's really important that you start a habit with this, and it's stop using labels when you are referring to food.
Yeah, this is a big one. This
Huge.
is something I've been guilty of for sure.
Huge. And one of my girlfriends actually asked me to have a conversation with her daughter, who is in kindy,
Yeah.
and was playing with foods and sorting them into good and bad foods. Mm-hmm. Which that's obviously heard. It definitely wasn't heard from their household, but that's obviously something that she's heard at kindy.
Yeah.
And that's how early those behaviors can be ingrained. So we don't want to be describing food as good, bad, unhealthy, clean, junk. Any of that creates emotion around foods, and it can create guilt. So explain that foods have their time and place. Food is just food. There's not good food. There's not bad food. Food has their time and place. Some have a lot of benefits in regards to how our body feels and performs, and therefore we should eat these foods most. And then it can also be useful to use a word with positive emotion for our less nutritious foods. So I really like soul foods. That's the food that the language that I use.
Yeah.
So an example of how you would explain this was, these foods don't provide much benefit to our bodies, so we eat them less, but they're good for our soul. So it's okay for us to include them in smaller amounts.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
I definitely have to use that, because I kind of just stopped. I got so confused that I was like, oh, I don't know what to say. I don't know if I can say, oh, this is good for you, this is bad for you. I just got so confused, and I'd be like, oh, that's a sometimes food, but then I didn't even like that.
Yeah, you've got to find find language that works for you in your house. Some people call them love foods.
Yeah, that's cute.
I like soul foods, but I don't know if kids understand, that soul term depends on how you kind of talk in your household.
Yeah.
So I would definitely lean away from good or bad, unhealthy, junk. These foods create guilt, and guilt doesn't serve us in any positive way.
No.
It just makes us feel shitty, and we'll go back to the emotional eating episode with Emma, where we feel guilty, eat the crappy food, feel guilty, engage in that behavior again, and then the cycle keeps going around and around. So we just want to stop we just need to stop using labels at all. Like you can use soul foods as describing those more sometimes foods, as you said, but we just want to explain that there's just food. It's not good or bad. And the foods that really benefit our body are really nutritious foods. Yeah. Nutritious is a good word to use.
Yeah.
They're the ones that we should be eating the most of because they make us feel our best and perform our best.
Yeah. I love this. One of the reasons that obviously the kids haven't seen me weigh myself, or I didn't weigh myself for so long, is because I had such an unhealthy relationship with food, like late teens and 20s, which we've touched on before. And like guilt was probably the biggest part of that.
And I think what happens as well, and what I see often is we do have that bad relationship that we've grown up with, and then we kind of go too far in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Like we don't want to moderate them at all. We don't want to ever see us weighing everything. But then also we're not teaching them, the right ways to look at food. We're kind of just putting our head in the sand and saying, well, what I grew up with wasn't right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go the other way. But if and I've spoken about this before, like explaining things well and them seeing you weigh out healthy food in the kitchen for the purpose of providing, your body with abundance, that behavior isn't more damaging than them seeing you sit on the couch putting away bags of chips because you don't want to diet in front of your kids.
Yeah.
So we need to find that middle point and not put our head in the sand and say, well, this is bad, but this is fine. We want to educate ourselves so that we can educate them.
Yeah, that's what I love the most as well, is when you talk about like it's an education and you're educating yourself on like what's right for you.
Yeah.
And so they're seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people are very, very quick to go, I would never weigh my food in front of my child, but they might sit on the couch and have a bag of chips and a bottle of wine every night, and you're modeling that behavior is okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of like you need to if you're truly passionate about this, you need to find and you should be, if you're raising children, then you need to find how you are going to approach it in a way that feels good for you.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that there's a right or wrong on either end of the scale, but just think like if you're going to label one behavior as damaging, have a look at the other end of the scale as well, especially with people that are like anti-diet culture.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So the next point that I have, number 2, is educate them on why we eat different types of food. So start providing an education with more detail than because it's good for you.
Yeah.
So, we say eat your vegetables because they're good for you.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, cool, but why?
Yeah, I literally get this. The other night, Magnolia, so sneaky. She had like a few pieces of broccoli and I was like, she was finished everything else. And I said, can you please just eat 2 of those? She's like, why? And I was like, oh, it makes you strong. And she's like, how? And I was like, I don't know, it just makes you strong.
I'm panicking.
Oh, and I turned around and I saw her feed it to the dog.
Oh,
she fed it to Villanelle.
Sneaky.
And I was like, Magnolia. And she's like, what? She just ate it out of my hand. And I was like, oh, so sneaky.
Villanelle just loves broccoli.
She's just jumping for it.
So some examples, just to give you some examples to start with. So protein is required for our muscles to grow. Mm-hmm. That's, an easy one.
Yeah.
Carbohydrates give us energy to move and to learn. Eating lots of different colors of fruit and vegetables means our bodies get all the things it needs. However, bonus points if you go and research specific benefits of the micronutrients. So say you like a quick Google search.
Yeah.
What micronutrients are in broccoli? And go, well, Magnolia, actually, you have broccoli because broccoli is packed with essential vitamins and minerals, including vitamin C, calcium, and iron. Its health benefits range from, probably don't say lowering blood sugar levels because then she's going to be like,
what?
Why? What? But it can, it says here like it can protect the body from oxidative stress and reduce inflammation. So you can say it can help your body heal when you fall over.
Yeah.
Or it can help you not get sick when everybody else is getting the flu.
Yeah, this is good. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because she's got a really good immune system. Actually, she talks about it all the time. She's like, you and Oscar always get sick and me and Daddy never get sick. So I can be like, well,
if you eat your broccoli, you won't get sick.
Yeah.
Just like things like that that's giving them more than well, it's good for you.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
kids love to learn.
They do.
They love to learn. They love information. And you'll probably make sure you do research it and don't just pull it out of your ass, because they also love to repeat what they've learned.
Yeah. That's so true.
And having the reasoning might make them a little bit more experimental with their food as well.
Yeah.
So they might think, oh, well, I really want that benefit, so they'll try it. And also keep in mind that they need to be presented with food many, 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 many times before they're even willing to try it.
Yeah.
So if you give them the broccoli, I think that there's a chart out there that's like, no, 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 yes. And it's like they'll try it on like the 15th exposure to it.
Yeah.
So, keep trying and keep explaining and educating.
Yeah. Yeah.
The third one I have, and it's provided that they're old enough, but involve them with the preparation of the meals.
Yeah.
And I know your kids love to get involved with cooking and picking out the meals that you're going to cook. So my passion for cooking definitely started as a child. I loved cooking with my mum and my nan, but my nutritional education only started as an adult. So imagine giving your child both, like the skills to cook, which I was actually speaking to someone the other day and they were like, really concerned that they couldn't cook yet, like in their 30s.
Yeah.
And maybe they were like underestimating their ability. I think so. But I think cooking is a really good life skill that we should all have.
Definitely.
And I know that some people hate it. And also, there's things that I hate that other people love. But it's such a joy to be able to prepare a really nice meal for someone. So if we can set them up with that, a bit of a passion or a bit of an inclination to have a go at cooking, but also an education around what they're cooking and what the benefits are of the food that they're preparing, it means that they also might be more willing to try it because they've prepared it themselves. Like it's exciting for them to have cooked the meal.
Yeah, this happens every time they cook. Once last year we took them to the Jan Powers farmers markets at Manly and we gave them a budget and they went and bought all of their own fruits and vegetables and they did like an entree, main and a dessert, and they actually did this like epic salad and they picked the most random things to go in it, and then for the dessert they were picking like dragon fruit and stuff, and they ate all of it. Like Magnolia was eating sprouts.
I love that.
Yeah, so it definitely helped.
I think it's a really good, and I've heard this on another podcast and I can't remember what podcast it was, maybe the Nutrition Couch, when they were talking about like obviously the best thing that you can do for your gut health is to eat a very wide variety of fruit and vegetables.
Yeah.
So she was saying that her mum raised her really well to eat lots of different fruit and vegetables, and they would go to the supermarket together and they would pick something that they'd never tried before.
That's
and then they
cool.
would like prepare it and cook it. So like taking them to the supermarket and being like, let's pick something that you haven't had before.
Yeah.
And then, finding a recipe that involves that food so that they're trying something new.
Yeah, that's so true. My parents owned a fruit and veg shop, so that definitely helped. I feel like I've had every fruit and vegetable under the sun.
It reminds me of all the things that my nan would cook that I would never buy now, like choco.
Oh my God, I was just about to say the only thing that I remember Dad would cook all the time was choco, and I'd be like, "Bleh."
I like choco.
Do you?
Or like I wouldn't often cook. I would cook it differently, but I would cook it in like a slaw or something, but like having cabbage as a veggie.
Yes, yeah.
Or like squash.
Yeah, we used to eat a lot of squash.
Do you know what I don't like? What did I try recently? And I thought it was going to taste like potato and it definitely didn't. It was like maybe turnip.
Oh yeah, turnips
Not
got
for
a
me.
really different taste.
But radish, I would never buy radish. Just reminds me of going to my nan's house and having a salad. Yum.
yeah.
I need to do this for myself.
I actually got, and I'm going to cook it this week. And sorry guys, I'm also making my buffalo.
Is this the Stubbs recipe?
I'm making my Stubbs recipe tonight and I will post it. But during the week, my nan has finally given me her steak and kidney recipe. Oh, have you had it before?
No, I can't do kidney.
Have you?
It's the smell.
Well, no, you won't be able to smell it.
Yes,
in
you
this.
will.
I promise.
My dad used to cook steak and kidney.
Did he? Oh, it's my favourite dish. And I'm
like-
going to make the puff pastry and you
And it's
stuff
like,
it in.
it puts like a residue on your mouth.
Nah, kidney's my favourite. I used to eat heaps of lamb's brains when I was little too.
Very good for iron.
Yeah. Well, that's how I'm going to eat it.
Interesting. Well,
I'll report back. I was
me
going to
out.
make you some, but I won't.
count me out of that one. So my fourth point is, and we've spoken about this before, but this is so important, use language of abundance rather than restriction. And I was on a call with a brand new client the other day, which was just so nice.
Yeah.
Actually, very strange. She worked with Emma in the past, but
Oh.
didn't find me through Emma.
That's so weird.
Found me through Instagram.
Yeah.
Little full circle moment. How cute is that?
Our worlds are so connected.
It's insane, hey?
Yeah, like I was saying to you.
For those who don't know, Emma is resident psychologist of the pod.
Go back and listen to our episodes because they're all brilliant.
They're all out, yeah, top charting.
Yeah,
eps.
They are. But yeah, at the supermarket the other day, I bumped into one of my mum friends from school who didn't realise that you and I had a podcast together and has known you for 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
So it's so weird.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we speak about this all the time. And this is what she was saying. Just the way that I explained this was a point of difference to how, because a lot of, not a lot, but a fraction of my clients that come to me have a resistance towards tracking calories.
Yeah.
And then I explain how I look at it and they're like, that's interesting. It's exactly the opposite of what I thought.
Literally.
So this is especially important if you have a current fat loss goal, but your children don't need to know that. If you are weighing your food portions, explain to them that it is like following a recipe and that you need to ensure that you're eating enough of the foods that are beneficial to you and that you're getting everything you need to feel your best.
Yeah.
So if you are weighing food, you need to say, I'm making sure that I get enough protein, enough fruit, enough vegetables to feel my best.
Yeah.
Another way you can explain it is explain it like baking a cake. Just like you're baking a cake, you need to have very precise measurements. It's the same with when you are trying to feel your best, perform your best. Mummy's working hard in the gym. She needs to make sure that she has enough protein so that her muscles grow strong. She needs to make sure that she has enough carbohydrates. So explain it that you're getting enough, not that you're trying to eat less.
Yeah.
Really important. Refrain from discussing weight loss with your children, but do discuss how good eating well makes you feel.
Yeah.
So if they're seeing you eating extra fruit and vegetables, because that's usually one of the first things that you do when you do have a fat loss goal, but everyone should do it anyway.
Yeah.
Explain that, I've been feeling really good. Like I eat this food and I feel really good.
Yeah.
And that's, that's going to model to them that they're more likely to want to try it as well. If you're eating food that doesn't contain fruit and veggies and then you're trying to push all of these fruit and veggies on them, they're not going to eat it. Like it's monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah. Yeah. I also think that it's just so evident, like when we've spoken about how much protein you need in a day, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I eat this and it has this much chicken, and you're like, that is not enough protein. That's like not even a tenth of what you need. Like I just would never know that.
Yeah, people think 120 grams of chicken is 120 grams of protein.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is. It's all about educating yourself.
I would say as a whole, as a society, we underconsume protein. And then as soon as people focus on that, they're like, you know what? I eat less snack food. And I say, yeah, because you're satiated.
Yes,
Nice.
I ate a huge Scotch fillet last night, which actually was really delicious. I should have put that in there. But I really felt less of a need to have dessert.
Yeah.
I'm a big dessert person, so
she's a dessert gal.
I had one little moon instead of 4.
You are on the bulk at the moment, but
I am.
Probably more steak and less little moons would be better. And that perfectly leads us into our next point, which is to eat the same foods that they do wherever possible. And I know with small children, it can be really hard when they are quite fussy eaters, but as they get older, we really want to be encouraging them to eat the same foods, especially if you do have a fat loss goal. I really encourage all of my mums or mums and dads to eat the same dinner as the kids.
Yeah.
Like if you want to eat a leaner lunch, brekkie, snacks when they're at school or daycare and they don't see you, that would be the perfect opportunity to have a salad and chicken for lunch, and then have the same spaghetti bolognese that the family is having for dinner, because then they see you eating the same food as them. If they're constantly seeing you eat a different meal to them, that's setting them up with some thought processes around, well, why is mum eating that? Is her food good and our food bad? Like why they start to wonder why that's happening, and you have to explain that situation.
Yeah.
So even if you're eating like a variation of what they're having, so for example, if you are making a spaghetti bolognese, you might have a smaller portion of the pasta, you might have the mince, and then you might put a side of steamed vegetables on the side. You could offer the same option to them. Hey, I'm going to have more vegetables with my spaghetti bolognese because that makes me feel really good. Would you like to have some as well? They might say no, but they might say yes. And that presents them with the choice to try a more nutritious option. Even if they don't take it, it models that you're all eating that way as a choice, not because the reason of dieting. Not say like, oh, mummy's trying to be good. Mummy's trying to lose weight. Mummy wants to eat more vegetables because they make her feel good. Would you like to have some too?
Yeah, I love that.
Yes, no, maybe on the 20th time. It's a yes. If they ask why you're eating something, again, explain the benefits to your body's performance and offer them to try it. So if you were making, a salad for your lunch and you've got a little one around and they ask questions about it, would you like to try some salad? It makes me feel really good. It makes me perform really well in the gym. It gives me lots of energy to play with you.
Yeah.
Number 6, and this is probably a really big one for our generation because we come from the generation of finish your meal or you won't get any dessert. So stop pushing them to eat absolutely everything on their plate. Or what would the starving children in Africa think? All of those things. This has led us to eat beyond our signals of being full, and therefore we usually eat more than our energy requirements. So encourage your children to try a little bit of everything on their plate. However, don't force them to eat when they don't want to. And I think as a parent, you want to use a little bit of your own sort of judgment there where you know that they might be putting it on a little bit, but forcing them when they've eaten, the majority of a meal to finish absolutely everything on their plate, especially with that or you won't get any dessert. Yeah. It can be really detrimental because children are born being in tune with their hunger signals. Yeah. So similarly, if you have a small child that's telling you that they're hungry, we don't want to deny them of food. Yeah. So we, and this is again back to that episode with Emma on non-hunger eating, which I would recommend everyone go back to. It's a fantastic episode. Yeah. She was saying that, we eat through association, like breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, morning tea. We're not necessarily eating because we're hungry. And she explains that hunger scale. And I think this is just fantastic. And I talk to my clients about it all the time. Yeah. With 0 or 1 being when you're so hungry that you're about to black out. Yeah. Or vomit. And 10 being like you're so full that you need to go and lay down. We want to be floating between like 3 and 7 and 8. Yeah. So we're not letting ourselves get to we're starving or letting ourselves get over full. And we do that as children. Yeah. Like you think about a baby that's, breastfeeding, they drink what they need. Yeah. You don't have to force it into them. They'll tell you when they've had enough. Yeah. They'll tell you when they're hungry because they cry. As we grow older, we are told to eat more than we need to, or we're restricted from food when we might be hungry, and then we start to lose those signals and build that association. Yeah. So we really want to allow them to keep that natural hunger signal as often as they can. Yeah. And then on the point of that is avoid using food as a reward or a bribe regularly. Like I know realistically, it's a necessity, but if you're at the point where, you're trying to get them to eat vegetables every day or finish everything on their plate every single day with the reward of dessert after, is that going to be really, really positive? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. To that note, though, do make soul foods a regular thing in appropriate portions. So if children are only allowed certain foods as a reward or they're restricted altogether, they'll likely binge when they're given the chance, just like adults. Yeah. Like the forbidden fruit theory, if you have a child, and again, how you raise your children is completely up to you, but if you have a child that never has lollies or chocolate and then they get to that birthday party where it's unrestrained, those are the kids that typically
you always see the kids and you can
bananas.
Tell. Yeah. You're like, oh, that kid's not allowed sugar at home. They're normally hovering around the table.
And then they'll be the one that's like climbing the balcony.
Yeah, and vomiting.
So regular small size treats mean that they're less likely to go crazy at a birthday party and that they'll learn the ability to moderate their foods when they're likely responsible for feeding themselves later in life. Yeah. So it's the same thing when you move out of home and you're like, oh my God, I can eat whatever I want. Yeah. If you haven't had a moderated diet where you've had a little bit of everything, it's going to be like KFC versus, we want to raise our kids so that when they move out of home, they make good choices and they already have that education to be like, okay, I can have KFC. Yeah. Every weekend, on the weekend once if I want to, but I'm going to be able to cook myself a healthy and nutritious meal. Yeah. On the other days, and that's just going to be the norm. Yeah. Use this as an opportunity to explain that soul foods are about 5 to 10% of our overall intake, but they can be included often, even daily, in small portions. Yeah. The next one, number 8, I think this is getting towards the last one actually. Oh. So lead by example in your habits and language. And I touched on this earlier about people being overly conscious about this stuff and going too far one way or too far the other. But children see and hear everything. So are you, as the parent, are you refusing cake every time it's offered to you at a birthday party? Mm-hmm. Do they see you sit on the couch and binge eat chips after dinner? Do they hear you comment on your weight or somebody else's weight? Or do they hear you put yourself down in the mirror? So your poor habits and your attitude towards your body and your food will become theirs if you're not aware of it.
Yeah.
So I think that it's so important, so important. We talked about it in the body image episode that, you know, they'll pick up all of the things. And we had that quote about when you're a mother and you stand in the mirror and your daughter's told you that she looks like you're not just tearing yourself down, you're tearing her down too. But you're also teaching them that behavior is normal.
Yeah.
Imagine if we had grown up where that didn't exist.
Yeah.
So set an example that you are proud of, and most importantly, do it when they aren't looking as well.
Yeah.
Do it for you.
Yeah. That is very, very, very good advice. That's something I definitely have to, I mean, not in front of the kids, but I try really hard. But sometimes it's still like, I'll still say to Kev, you know, oh, do I look really like bloated in this? And he's like, no, you know. So I'm still like, and then I catch myself and I'm like, no. But I do make sure I don't say it in front of the kids. That is all such good advice.
This is the thing with everything like this behavior change takes time, and like, don't beat yourself up if you don't get it right straight away. And I was reflecting with one of my clients and very avid listener of the pod on last week's episode about fear of rejection. Yeah. And she was saying like how I think is not normal. Yeah. And I was like, I know.
How you think?
Yeah, just like the fear of rejection. And I explained to her that particularly diluted one that I told you. And she was like, when you look at the facts, like this would have to happen for what I was jumping to be correct. Like this, and this, like it's so incredibly unlikely. So when you have those thoughts, and I know this is exactly how I break down limiting beliefs. Yeah. But when you have these thoughts, these body positivity thoughts or anything, limiting beliefs, rejection sensitivity, anything that in your mind is not true. Yeah. You can't let it run away. Like you have to pull yourself up and be like, wait a minute. Yeah. Is this real? Or when I look at this, and this, maybe I am being a silly goose. Yeah. Yeah. The more that we practice that, the better it's going to get. But like I said to her, it's ongoing. Yeah. Self-development is so ongoing, and you'll nail this one thing and then you'll find something else that you want to work on. Yeah. But go ask for being willing to do the work. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So just keep at it. Was my long-winded wrap up of that.
I love that. That is such good advice. All of that is fantastic and very tangible, and I can't wait to share it. And Tegan's also done a very amazing slideshow or slide. What do we call it? Slides that will go on Insta.
It's a carousel, I sound like an old person. Alex. It's a carousel.
She's done an amazing carousel, which I feel like is so generous with your knowledge. So thank you. And that will be on our Insta during the week.
Towards the end of the week. So you've heard the ep first and you guys will be like, oh, I know this, but I've got it here to refer back to. Yeah. So make sure if you have really enjoyed these tips that you send them on to one of your mum or dad friends if it's something that you think is important, which you should.
Yeah. I agree. That's awesome.
Let's go back to last week's episode.
Okay.
Let's just have a little debrief on this because our group chat has blown up. So apparently the most controversial thing that we've ever spoken about on the entire podcast is whether or not you should fart in front of people.
Can we clarify that we do not think that it is not feminine or anything like that? It's just personal preference.
Some things are allowed to be private.
Yeah, I just don't want.
If you want to fart in front of your partner, friends, anyone else,
go for it.
Go nuts.
We're not judging you.
My opinion might change down the track. And I also want to clarify, like I'm not walking around holding farts in all the time. I'm just strategic with when I release them.
Yeah. And can we just also, this is hilarious. When
this is like our rebuttal to getting absolutely fucking drilled in our group chat.
annihilated for like an hour. So when we were messaging those messages, I went to the bathroom and the lock is broken on our bathroom door and I was not doing a wee. And Kev was like talking to the kids and I could hear him walking towards the toilet. And I was like, oh my God, he's going to open the door. And he opened the door and I'm like, I'm in here. And then I was like, going to put it in the group. And I was like, no, we're too busy getting annihilated. So
It was very entertaining.
it was.
But just to be clear, we don't think it's unfeminist
Yeah.
to fart. Is that the right way?
And if you fart in our presence, we're not going to be like,
I'll probably think it's really funny. And and we also mentioned this. Huge burpers.
yeah, huge burpers.
Massive burpers. And also we're not teaching children that they shouldn't fart either. We just want to clear the air on the fart chat.
to clarify that. My kids can fart anytime, anywhere.
I just do think maybe like it's not polite for people to be walking around farting all the time. So do with that what you will.
And I suggested that maybe for Tegan's confidence challenge, she should go somewhere really public and just fart really loudly. I just feel like I would die of like embarrassment. Like,
Yeah, I would die.
and what if it smells really bad? Like, I don't know, thank you.
No.
No.
Let's do the karaoke.
I'm glad we clarified that.
Yes. Girls, I hope you're happy. We're gonna get
dragged again. Oh, that is so funny.
Actually, that red light, green light is so controversial.
I think we have to make it semi-regular.
I'm getting a lot of messages of like agree, disagree.
Yeah.
And the poll went up again.
Yeah.
So we're going to put the poll up tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we don't know yet, but we'll get the decisive evidence on the fart thing.
Yeah. And I've actually bumped into two people at the shops and they've asked me if I was going to return the trolley that I was pushing.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
One of them I didn't even know listened to the pod and she was like, are you going to return that trolley?
That's so funny. I got a bit of pushback on the dog poo, if that makes you feel better.
Did you? That makes me feel better. I can't wait to post that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to do anything or do you just want me to do pop culture?
You just do it. This segment is purely for you.
Yes, it is. It makes me happy. I was so excited when I saw that you'd put it.
Refresher for people on pop culture quiz if they're new listeners.
Yeah.
Basically, Alex is obsessed with pop culture. I am oblivious.
Yeah.
So she likes to question me on a pop culture reference and then I just try and bullshit my way through what I think it might be referring to. It's fun for Alex.
I just have to research something very quickly because if I get this wrong, I'll be cancelled.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think people care that much?
People care this much about this?
Okay. Oh, controversial. Am I going to get cancelled?
Nah. All right. Do you want to try and guess the theme of my quiz today?
Taylor Swift.
How did you know? Everyone knows I'm a Swiftie now and I have a real problem. Oscar said in the car last night, Mummy, do you think Taylor Swift waited for everyone to just like be so over listening to her Eras playlist and then she dropped a new album? And I was like, yes, I do. I believe she's probably got a team of psychologists working out the time it takes for people to finally wean off their obsession with the Eras tour before she released her new album because she's that calculated, because she's a genius. Okay, first question.
Oh, there's multiple questions.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Okay, here we go. Fuck.
What is the name of the album Taylor Swift dropped this week?
Pass.
Oh, we're not off to a good start. It's called the Tortured Poets Department.
Oh, fucking of course it is.
Okay. Who is the song Thank You, Amy about?
Amy.
No.
Oh, is it a bloke or a chick?
A chick.
Is it her?
No.
Herself. Amy.
No. Oh, that's a clever one. Do you want me to tell you how it's spelt? Thank you, but with a capital K.
Is that like that? Oh, this hurts my brain. Is it like, don't people type like that when they're doing like a
I don't know what you're talking about.
like when they're like saying like, I don't know how to explain it, like the little emoji that's like a bit walk-eyed.
Oh, yeah. yes. Kind of like that. So it's Thank You, Amy. Amy spelled AIMEE. And it's the capital letters in it. It's thank with a capital K and Amy with a capital IM.
Capital K. Oh, so it's for her boyfriend.
It's Kim Kardashian. It's about Kim Kardashian.
Oh.
Yes, because remember nope.
Something to do with Kanye having lyrics
Yes.
about having sex with Taylor.
Yeah, and the phone call that was recorded, and it's a big, that would take a whole episode to deconstruct. But yes, it's about Kim. And there's a really good reference in there where she talks about like one day your kids will come home singing this song and you and I will know it's about you. And I was just like, yeah.
Oh, a little secret message there.
Yeah, brutal. And now everyone's Kim.
So she likes Kim and hates Kanye.
Hates Kim. And this week Kim lost 100,000 followers. And every time she posts something, people are like, thank you, Amy. Thank you, Amy.
Oh, wow.
Taylor Swift has all the power in the world. And I don't even dislike Kim Kardashian. Let me make that known. Okay.
I like her underwear.
Yeah. Oh, I love all the Skim stuff. Who is the double album about? There's two people. Do you know who it's about?
Not Kim Kardashian? That just that one song?
Yes, just that one song.
So she's brought out, there's two albums?
So she actually released two. So she released the one album and then a few hours later she's like, surprise, it's a double album.
When does this bitch sleep?
Oh, never.
Her boyfriend?
Not Travis, no.
Why did I think his name was
It's Travis Kelce.
Kelsey?
Yeah.
Her mum and dad?
No.
Herself?
No.
Should I know this?
Yes.
Her friends?
No, it's about
Her cats?
two exes.
Taylor Swift's exes?
Yeah.
I don't know who they are.
Don't you?
No.
I thought you might know Maddie Healy from 1975.
No.
That seems like your kind of music.
Actually, I have been told that before.
Yeah, you should listen. You would love that. So it's about Maddie Healy, who she dated for a hot minute and dedicated a lot of songs to him. He's gross. And then the rest is about Joe Alwyn, who she was with for a very long time. And everyone thought everything would be about him, but it's not. It's about a lot about Maddie Healy, which is interesting.
I'm just going to ask because I'm not going to listen. Is she like spilling tea in these songs?
Yeah, there's a bit of tea spilt. Yeah, definitely. Like there's lines that's like, my husband's cheating on me. And it's always been rumoured that her and Joe Alwyn were secretly married. And so now people are like, did he cheat on her? There's references where she talks about her having a drinking problem.
Do you think that she likes to date a lot so she has a lot of content?
Well, this is a big conversation, and it's a big conversation in like feminism and stuff as well. I mean,
if I was a pop star,
yeah,
I'd have some content.
And definitely she writes her best stuff when she has a broken heart, I feel, or when she's in love with someone. I like the stuff when she has a broken heart.
Okay, this is such a pivot. But when an artist records heaps of songs about like heartbreak,
yeah,
but you know that they've been with their partner forever, aren't you like,
who are you writing about?
Or are you full of shit?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to be real.
No, it doesn't have to be real.
Do you ever think about that?
Yeah, I definitely do, because I've had so much trouble writing. I used to write so much horror fiction, and then since I've been medicated and happy, I've not had any desire to write it, which I'm actually going to start again soon. I'm going to start trying to like tap into that again, not making myself sad or going off my medication. Just going to start.
Do it for your writing.
Well, I know it is a big thing with artists about like.
Or like when they're like drug addicts and they make better music than when they're not.
Yeah. I feel like she definitely makes better. Well, obviously her relationships are big fuel for all of her art.
Do you think that I don't want to get cancelled. I don't really care. Do you think maybe she's a bit of a toxic queen for content?
Nah.
In relationships?
Nah.
So she's just unlucky in love?
I think she's just unlucky in love. I think a lot of people are, but they're just not the most famous person in the world. So you don't notice. Because she hasn't really been she's 35. We don't know, but she's not really been married. So you would have quite a few relationships in that time.
The years get away from you.
They really do.
I feel you, Tay. I feel you, sis.
Okay, last question.
Thank God.
Oh, no, two.
Oh, man.
It's okay. The last one's not about Taylor Swift. One question. Do you know what two artists make an appearance on the albums?
Kendrick Lamar.
No.
Are they male or female?
There's one male that I love and you love.
Post Malone.
Yes. It's such a good song. It's called Fortnite. And then the other one is a female artist.
Actually, was that like leaked on TikTok?
We all knew that he was going to be on it.
A female artist. Give me another clue. Do I know them?
She's named after a city in Italy.
Florence.
Yeah.
Florence and the Machine.
Yeah.
That's cool.
She's my like all-time favorite.
Very cool. Is she Australian?
No.
Why did I think that? I don't know.
She
think
plays
I'm
here a
confusing
lot.
with Vera Blue.
Oh my God. I love Vera Blue too. Okay, last one. This isn't Taylor Swift related. What pop band reunited during the week at an event and they sung one of their songs? Just candidly an event for a TikTok. It wasn't like they didn't get together and perform because that would break the internet.
Our era?
Yeah. Big time. Pop. The biggest.
The Backstreet Boys.
Nah. If I do this.
No, they did a tour recently.
Do you know what I'm doing?
Steps?
No.
5? The
Do you
Macarena?
not know this?
Wait up. Go again.
I should stand up.
The Spice Girls?
Yes, the Spice Girls. And they sung Stop and they did the little dance and everything at Victoria Beckham's birthday party.
She's the goat of the Spice Girls.
The goat. Absolutely. I agree.
And I feel like when we were kids and you were playing like Spice Girls, no one wanted to be her.
See,
Joke's on you.
I was always her because I wasn't like
Sporty Spice.
Yeah, I imagine. I wasn't sporty, so I wasn't Sporty Spice. I wasn't
couldn't be
blonde.
Baby Spice because there was another girl that was like more Baby Spice than me. And we were both blonde.
Yeah. I was always her because I also had a lot of short dresses. So but she's the best. I love her.
Spice Girls slap.
Oh, can you imagine if they toured?
I wouldn't go.
You wouldn't go? You wouldn't just go for the nostalgia and to say that you were there?
Nah.
For the experience?
Nah. It would be so expensive.
I'd go.
You would go.
I would go. I want to be a part of it. I would want to take Magnolia too.
Cute.
Yes. All right. Well, I was going to say you did well. You didn't do very well at all. You got one.
Oh, I thought you meant on the
You
episode.
got two. You did very well on the episode.
Because I was like, I thought I did pretty good.
You did. This might be one of my favorite episodes. I know I say
Good
that
on
about
the
every
app,
episode.
shit on the pop culture quiz. And that's the best I could really hope for.
It is. Thank you for sharing these points, Tegan. I agree.
Do you mean the pop culture quiz points?
Yes.
The tangible shit.
The tangible shit. I agree that this is a really important issue and an opportunity for us to do better. And you guys know that we believe that better begins with us.
So if you would like to work with me on improving your nutrition, movement, or mindset, you can find me on Instagram at Fitty Tegs, and you can now find me at fittytegs.com.
Ooh!
I got a website.
Yay!
I'm working with women to improve their relationships with their food, movement, and bodies is my passion, and I am so grateful to help women with this.
Yay. As always, we are thankful to all of our loyal Bread and Better listeners. If you or someone you know is looking to start a podcast or need any audio formatted content, please reach out to me at Hey Out Productions, and I would love to help out.
See you next week.
Bye.